Oh, listen, I have got to establish a presence in Australia, and I have a girlfriend who's Australian, but people in Australia don't seem to know me. So I'm leaving it up to you to help me.
Well, mate, I think Boss Level might have helped you big time because I have had so many friends who have gone to see it since it came out on Thursday, and they have absolutely loved it, and they have been raving about how good you are in this film. So I think you might have done it.
Well, now I'm moving to Australia.
Well, mate, I watched the film as well, and I have to say this is an absolutely amazing sci-fi action film. Tell us a little bit about what your first thoughts were when you heard about this film.
Well, oddly enough, 11, 12 years ago, after Joe and Carnahan and I had done The Grey, he had given me this script, and I was like, wow, this is everything I love about movies. It's over the top, funny action. It's vulgar. It's cool. And so our journey to make the film started then. And it took us until I was able to lead the movie, and we could get the money to make the movie 10 years later to be here now. So we've gone on this long journey to get this thing done because we really had a feeling from the beginning that it was something that people would dig, and I think now after COVID even more so.
Definitely. What's that like for you as an actor, knowing that you've got a project there that's been sitting there for a decade and you're wanting to do it, the director is wanting to do it. What's that like, having it just sitting there on the shelf while you're working on other projects?
Yeah, it's frustrating, because, in this business, you need to have value in order to get a movie made. And so I didn't have that kind of, clout. And, but we knew we could kill this movie. We knew there was a great film to be made, and so we just went up about our business and kept doing what we were doing. We've made a bunch of movies since then, and so when we got to make the movie, here's the thing: when we got to make the movie, it was the right time, and I think it shows. I think me getting a little bit older and a little more experience helped the movie.
Yeah. What was that like on the first day when you first walked onto the set? Was that just a feeling of, wow, this is finally happening?
Yeah, it was surreal. And, it was emotional, because it had taken so long. And even being on the set the first day, about 3 days earlier, we had 41 days to shoot this film. And we had found out 3 days before we were shooting that they were cutting us to 27 days. So we either had the choice to tell everybody to go home or to carry on forward and make the movie in 27 days. And of course, that's what we chose to do. So it's been pushing a rock up a hill since day one. It was pushing a rock up a hill throughout the whole film. And even when it was supposed to come out in theaters last year, it got canceled because of COVID. So we were like, maybe we're cursed. But the silver lining inside this whole thing is that Hulu came in. And now I think, here we'll get more eyes on the movie than we normally would have. And then you guys around the world get to see the movie on the big screen. So we got the best of both worlds.
Definitely. Now tell us a little bit about what it's like to work with Joe, because Joe really went into bat with you for this film. Like you said, he sat on the film for so many years until he could have you star in it. What is Joe like to work with as a director? Because he's one of my favorites.
Joe is a joy to work with. Joe is, after The Grey, we became really great friends, and that's why Joe wanted me to do this movie with him. But then we've always been friends, and we've always wanted to keep working together. And then we did a movie together called Wheelman on Netflix, and that's when we realized we should start a company. And that was about 4.5 years ago. We've since made 6 movies together and 2 television shows. And, we're partners. We talk 55 times a day, and we run a company, and now we just work together all the time. So he's become, my closest friend, my business partner, my creative collaborator. I think for my money, in the world of action, thriller, genre, I don't think there's anybody out there that's better than Joe Carnahan.
Definitely. Now, the character of Roy really gives you an opportunity here to shine, because not only are there a world of stunts in this film, but you also get some really touching scenes with your son as well. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to play Roy and what it was like getting to do drama and action in the one film.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to play Roy because I think there's a lot of me in that character. I think there's a guy who's flawed, who's made some mistakes in his life, who wants to know his son more, who knows he made mistakes, and the reality is I've been the lead of films. I've never been the lead of a film that is this much action and carrying the thing from the beginning to the end. So it was a great task. I loved every minute. It was a joyous process.
Yeah.
And I loved getting to be physical, funny. And then when I was doing the scenes with my son and Naomi, there was a lot of heart there. So it's an amalgamation of everything you could possibly want as an actor.
Yeah, and there's some amazing stunts there that you get to do as well, and a whole variety of stunts as well. There's fight sequences, jumping off buildings, jumping onto helicopters. Tell us a little bit about the stunts and what were some of your favorites to film.
I pretty much did all of my own stunts. There was a couple of jumps off the building that I wasn't allowed to do, but other than that, I did a lot of my own driving, and I did all my own fighting, and I did. What was really fun for me was sword fighting with the great Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
And again, because of the schedule, that whole process was truncated. So it was an intense day just with Michelle, and I'm such a huge fan of learning the sword fighting, and that to me was really cool, and it looks really cool on film.
How long did it take you to learn the sword fighting? Because of course you had the scenes with Michelle, but you also had the scenes with Selena as well. How did you go about learning sword fighting, and how long did it take you to learn?
Well, I practiced every day for about a month and a half before we started the movie. And I had a bunch of great, Dan Rizzuto, who is a sword expert. Every day we went to the gym. He taught me how to hold the sword, and it all started that way. And he taught me the history of the sword, and little by little I learned how to be comfortable with it, to the point where I was so good at it, I would look bored and I could do it. And by the way, it was a good thing I did that, because we didn't know that we were going to almost half of our schedule. So it was a good thing that I became that proficient at it, because we didn't have a lot of time to shoot.
Yeah, definitely. And are you using real swords on set, or are you using swords that are kind of blunted so that you don't hurt each other?
No, I would have killed 15 people. So we did use swords that were slightly blunted.
Cool. Now, a lot of people here in Australia are excited about this film because of the inclusion of Naomi Watts and Mel Gibson, two people that are loved dearly here in Australia. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to work with Naomi and Mel.
It was amazing to work with both of them for similar reasons and for different reasons, but similarly because they're both at the top of their game. They're both, huge, well-respected actors and movie stars. And, they brought a certain cachet to the marquee that a lot of these films normally don't have. That they don't take the time to, fill out the cast with this level, this caliber of actor. And I got to tell you something. It's always amazing because it's the biggest stars that are usually the most humble. And these two, were no exception. They were just wonderful to work with. Mel, especially, he's an amazing director. He's one of the great directors alive today. And he was just generous and curious and helped us in many ways and became a great friend to both Joe and I.
He was absolutely brilliant in the role of Ventor. What was it like doing those scenes where you were opposite him? Because he comes across as truly terrifying when he's playing Ventor in this film.
Mel can be a scary dude. Mel's a man. He's a big dude. The fight scene that we had in the very first take, he clipped me with his big forearm. He's got like Popeye forearms in my jaw, and he dislocated my jaw. And so I had to do the rest of that scene with a dislocated jaw. But I didn't want to upset Mel, so I didn't tell him. And it was only until after I said, you dislocated my jaw, buddy.
How do you go through a scene like that with that pain of having a dislocated jaw? Or does that kind of enhance your performance because your character would be in pain as well?
Yeah, no, it was. I knew I had to get through it, and then it was important to the movie. And I also knew if Mel found out, it probably would slow things down. So I just kind of sucked it up, and I had a doctor on the side. Every time we'd say cut, I would go in, and she'd stick her hand all the way in my mouth to my jaw and push on the jaw so that when I went back to do the scene, I could talk. And Mel never had any idea.
Awesome. Well, mate, the other person that I'm really jealous about you getting to work with was Ken Jeong. I'm a huge Community fan, so have always been a fan of his. What is he like to work with, and how often did he make you laugh on set?
By the way, every take, because he's an incredible improvisational actor, every take he said something different, and every take we were on the ground. He, again, Ken came and lent his services, as a very supporting character, and he was 100% every time. He's one of the funniest dudes you can work with. Between him and Will Sasso, there was a lot of laughs on set.
Awesome. Well, mate, I know we are running out of time, but I'll go with just one quick question. What was it like working with your actual son? Because you two share some very, very touching scenes in this film. What was it like working with Rio?
I'll never work with that kid again. No, you know what? I have to tell you, it was. I was so proud of him. I was in awe of how comfortable he was, and basically what he did is he pulled the curtain, to the allure of acting. It's like, here's a kid who's never acted before. He came in, he knew his lines, he was really professional, he was really effective. I believed everything he did, and I live in Hollywood where all these actors make such a big deal of their process and everything. And I'm like, well, if you just act like a kid, it's kind of easy.
Yep.
And so it was an amazing experience. I'm glad we had it. I recently said to him, because, the movie we shot it 2 years ago, and I said, Rio, the movie's coming out now, and maybe more movies will come your way. He goes, well, if Marvel or Spielberg calls, I'm interested. Otherwise, I'm not going to do any more movies. And that's what he told me.
Well, mate, congratulations again on such a fantastic film. I know a lot of Aussies are talking about this film, so congratulations.
I love it. Thank you so much, brother.
No problem, mate. Talk to you soon. Bye.